Just excited to be here. Our team's battled through some ups and downs of the season, but started with a lot of high expectations, and just excited to see this opportunity come to fruition after what was a tough season.
We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. Just a reminder to use that raise hand feature, and once we get you in, we'll go ahead and get it started. Who wants to get us started today? We'll start with David Murray. David, go ahead.
Coach, I know regular season baseball is nothing like postseason baseball. What do you take away from that trip back in March, or do you take anything at all from that game in March?
I don't want to take a whole lot away from it, that's for sure. This wasn't a great trip over here earlier in the year, but the positive hopefully is our guys have been in this venue. Obviously, it's a larger facility than we are accustomed to playing in, and I think our guys had a chance to experience that. They've had a chance to walk in what is just an unbelievable ballpark and kind of get the wow factor and the all out of their system, so that now as we come in here for the regional, hopefully we're not overwhelmed by the stadium. We can just go out and play good baseball.
We'll go ahead and go to Theo next. Theo, jump on in there.
Hi, Coach. I was wondering who you plan on starting on the mound tomorrow. Is it going to be Sam Strickland, Zach Hester, or somebody else?
No, Sam Strickland will start for us tomorrow.
Again, for those of you just joining us, if you have any questions, let's go ahead and use the raise your hand feature. Jeff, why don't you go ahead and jump on in there and unmute yourself?
Yeah, Casey, can you talk about just the importance of the way you won those games? In the SoCon tournament, and how you won, and how much confidence that gives you coming in.
Sure, man. And first of all, Jeff, I appreciate a local guy being on here, man. We've done a couple of these regionals, and heck, this may be the first time we've had a local guy join us. So I appreciate you following us, buddy. But no, I think it hopefully carries over a lot. We've talked a lot about this season, just the ability to finish games, to finish the season, and the importance of the finish, and obviously being able to be a part of 2 walk-offs in the conference tournament to finish off the regular season with the conference championship. I think it says a lot about the character of this team, the makeup of this team, and the fight of this group that we have.
Jeff, did you have a follow-up for Coach? You can go ahead.
No, I think that's cool. I guess if I did have a follow-up, it'd be something of the neighborhood of the fact that, I'm not sure how many of these guys were on the team that went the time before, but the fact that this program has been there before, what kind of edge or advantage is that?
We definitely have some guys. You ask about Sam Strickland that'll starting tomorrow. Sam's the same guy that as a freshman went into Tallahassee and beat the 4 national seed that year in Florida State. So it's kind of comforting to know that we've got a guy who's not only pitched in the big moment, but excelled in the big moment. And we've got several other guys. Taylor Garris, our shortstop, Max Pinto, our center fielder, Ryan Crockett. Those are guys that have been out there. They've played in the regional atmosphere. They've played in big environments. And I hope there's some carryovers as we get into tomorrow.
We'll swing it back to David Murray. David, go ahead. David?
Coach, tell us more about Strickland and what makes him a good matchup for this Mississippi State offense that you see.
I'll be honest with you. Sam's throwing tomorrow because he's the best guy we got, not really necessarily because of the matchup. I hope it's a good matchup for us. But, like I said, Sam's been our guy literally for this being his 4th season. And he's a guy that attacks his own, unlike a lot of college pitchers that try to trick you and try to fool you. Sam's going to come right after you and challenge you. And I think that mentality is what gives him success at this level.
Just a reminder for those of you joining us late, we're utilizing the raise your hand function, and then we'll have the recording available for you on our FTP site. Brandon Langwater, media coordinator, will distribute that. John Sokoloff, why don't you jump in there?
Coach, I'm sorry I jumped on there about probably 30 seconds later or so, but Sam Strickland's going to go tomorrow. Just wanted to confirm that.
Correct.
Okay. And a quick follow-up. You guys were here on March 16th. Just wanted to know what you remembered about that game, that matchup, and kind of if there's any advantage to the fact that you already faced this lineup already before this year. What kind of pointers that the other guys who pitched that night could maybe give to Sam?
Well, I think, first off, I think we gave up 10 runs that night, but, of the guys that gave up those 10 runs, I think 8 of the 10 are guys that aren't necessarily a part of our weekend staff. So, they'll see a lot of different people tomorrow than they saw earlier in the year. Plus, 3 of our better hitters were not in the lineup that night. So this is a different club that came over here in March. I think it's a team that's playing much better. It's still a team that understands the challenge that we have ahead of us. But I do think you're going to see a better Samford baseball team than you saw in March.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and swing it back to Theo. Theo, go ahead.
Coach, obviously in 2012, you guys faced Mississippi State twice in the Tallahassee Regional and eliminated the Bulldogs. How big of a win was that for the program? And just how hard is it to beat a team like that in a regional on the road?
Yeah, I think, 2012, there probably may not be a bigger pivotal moment for our program than that year. That was the first ever regional trip for Samford. We had a club in 2012 that quite honestly was better than Mississippi State that year, and I think it proved out as we beat them twice. But we had a better team. We beat Chris Stratton, who was their guy, on Friday night. I think we hit as many home runs almost that one night than he had given up the course of the season. But that was just a really good group, and that was a group that really set the bar high for Samford baseball, and it's still to this day the best group we've put together. This is a good team. I'm not going to knock our group now, but that group in 12 was extremely talented. I think there was 13 draft picks a part of that team that year over the next couple years. So again, this is a different group than we had in 12. Still a good group, but probably not the same ability level as that group in 12.
We'll go back to David Murray. Again, if you have questions, utilize that raise your hand function.
Coach, I can vouch, having been there, that, that's as many shots as Stratton gave up all season. And there were no doubters, every one of them there. So,
yeah, if I could bring some of those kids back, it'd be nice to bring Brandon Miller and Saxon Butler and a couple of those guys back with us this weekend.
It's easy for a team to get a reputation, small park, big swingers conference, but Southern Conference baseball is good, and your guys have proven they can hit the ball out of any size park.
No, I mean, we've got some offensive guys, and we've got some guys with some power. Obviously, we play in a very offensive league. When you look at the numbers in our league, I think Mercer in our conference either led or finished second in the country in home runs, and a couple other groups were up there pretty high. So it is an offensive conference. It's a league that is challenging to pitch in. I think when you look at some of our pitching numbers, they're inflated because of our conference. There are some smaller ballparks, but there's also some real physical teams within our league, and it's a challenging league to pitch in for sure.
Yeah, we're fired up. Being out of mid-major, it really excites us to be able to play in an atmosphere like this. Like Coach said, it's not every day we get to come into a stadium like this and play in front of that many people, but really all it does is just gets us excited and even want to get out there faster. We're just excited to be out there.
And following up on that, obviously you guys did play here 2 months ago. Do you feel like it's a different team that played there 2 months ago than you guys are fielding this weekend?
I do feel like we're playing a little bit better now as a team. We've kind of figured out some position-wise, and obviously having our weekend rotation out there, it makes us feel a little bit more confident going in. But again, we trust the guys we have on our team, and we trust our defense, and we trust our pitching. So at the end of the day, it's the same team.
It's amazing. Obviously, that was my first time ever throwing in a stadium like that, and this one's even bigger. So I'm definitely a big adrenaline guy, and the more people there are in the stands, I feel like the better I can handle it. So being older and having been in this situation before, I think I can handle it well.
Again, questions for Sam? Go ahead and utilize that raise your hand function. Go ahead, Theo.
Sam, Mississippi State obviously has a deep lineup with some really good hitters, including a left-hander in Tanner Allen, but several good right-handed hitters. How do you feel like you match up against a lineup like the Bulldogs bring to the game tomorrow?
I think I'm pretty well prepared. As Coach Dunn said earlier, the SoCon's a big offensive league, and so I have to prepare for that every weekend. I think I'm just going to go into it the same way that I've done the past 4 years, and that's just trust my stuff and trust his pitch calling.